the issue of belief, one of the most important things you can start with, and most people are successful because of their belief system. This is something I have learned over my life. What you believe is what comes to pass. So you have to, even when you don't believe, you can work through believing in some things. And I remember that story of The Office, and it's one of the stories I still remember because when I resigned in the year 2015, and then we started doing many things in the year 2016. Of course, I had a big desk in Safaricom. And when I came to the office, I had a very small desk. Remember one of the struggles we had with my co-director. Just to give a history, we started operation in 2013. First director is in, I think, end of 2014. I left in 2015, Julius left in 2016. So I came to the office, I find Joseph. And because of cash flow issues he has handled, we struggled because I did not have a laptop. The laptop was 40,000. And we struggled and we discussed at length whether I should buy a laptop. I told him I can't operate without a laptop. And I had to make a hard decision and tell him whether I buy a laptop or not. I don't think it's a big issue. We have to work hard to ensure that the money comes. Can't operate with one. Cash flow is an issue. In the same office, it was so small. The desk was the table was so big, such as it covered almost the whole area of the office. And I remember the space between the desk and the seat was very small. And you have to sit down there. So if one people was to leave, and of course during the day people leave, everyone had to start up at every moment. And when that customer care, I still remember when he left, we just laughed and continued our business. Basically, there was no front office because I was like the front office. I was sitting next to the door, and the water was just there. Basically, the room was very small. And for some reason, I was still comfortable. But at some point, we said, no, guys, we can't operate like this. One of the things that convinced me, especially on scaling up, I feel we have a lot of potential as persons. You have a lot of potential to do big things. If you're an employee somewhere, you can become the CEO if you want. But you have to know that you can. And I felt from Safaricom, I can't come to this very small office and let it remain the way it was. And I had to do something. And those are some of the lessons. The other lesson that I believe is very important, thank you, Julia, so much for sharing that, is a business plan. I still have the business plan in 2015 that I prepared after I left Safaricom. I felt, no, I can't allow myself do a small business. You know, Safaricom is the biggest company in Central Africa, making billions of money. And I was wondering, how can we create not something like exactly like Safaricom, but with a similar impact and influence like Safaricom? And I came up with a business plan. This is real estate. And a business plan, for those who are wondering, is not a 99-page document or 900 pages. It can even be 3 pages. Just say basic steps that you need to take to achieve the business vision. And a business plan is usually written to cover most likely the next 6 months and some long-term general goals that you'd like to cover. So you have to know how much money do you need in 6 months. Number 2, how many people do you need in those 6 months? How much equipment? Most importantly, how much capital do you require and where are you going to get it? How much stock do you need to start? For us, we started with a much smaller project in 2013, but in 2016 we wanted 100 acres. So a business plan is not that complicated. So you need a business plan, right? It might be 3 pages. The other thing important, which is important in a business plan, is marketing strategy. It cannot be a big document like those master's theses that people do PhD. No, you just need a page saying exactly how are you going to market your product. The last thing is about projections. How many products or services in terms of quantities are you going to offer in month 1, the 3rd month, the 6th month, in the 1st year, in the 2nd year? Let me tell you, by doing so, what it does, it gives you confidence to know that you know what you are doing. You know where you are going, you know the specifics. And that is one of the things we do. I shared with my co-directors. Be honest with you, it is, I would not say they believed in it like very fast, but after we discussed, everyone was on board in this ship. So it is very important for you to have a business plan that you can be able to work with, especially when you are moving your small business to a big one. Dream as much as you can. And that brings me to another very important lesson that I have learned personally about thinking big. The issue of scaling up is about thinking big. If you are starting a very small shop, you have to imagine that one day this shop can be bigger than Carrefour, depending on your pronunciation. This shop can be bigger than Nakumat or Tuskys or Naivas. You have to think like that. If you are starting a small a farm, you have to imagine this farm can be bigger than Safaricom. If you are starting a small real estate farm, maybe as an agent, you have to imagine this company can even be bigger than where username is at the moment, or many other companies. In every sector, there are examples. In Kenya and out of Kenya, that is called thinking big. Thinking is okay. Having an idea is okay. They actually say idea without execution is called hallucination. You don't want to hallucinate. And that's why we are saying you need several things. Manage your cash flow, have a business plan, a plan of action, something that will tell you, I can move from point 1 to point B, and these are the steps. It will give you confidence. So, please, as an SME, as a leader of a small SME, think big, write that plan, and believe you can do it. You'll be forced to look for resources that will enable you to move forward. Don't know whether Julius has might be having other topics, another lesson, another experiences that, of course, you have been together. I know all these stories, we keep sharing them, and maybe he has something to say as we move along.
Sure. I think one of the other things I wanted to share, especially for a small business, an SME, a business that is starting, as you start, you need to accept that you have to do almost everything by yourself. I remember one time when we started username back in 2013 when the operations started, and we were asking ourselves, how are we going to market our products? Because we have this product in Konza, we have this other one in Gom, and we need to market them. And one of the things was to come up to do business cards, and we did business cards for each and every one of them, of us. But before we did the business cards, we were asking ourselves, how do we identify ourselves? What titles do we give ourselves? Are we directors? Are we managers? Are we salespeople? And finally, we decided to settle with a marketing representative of username, because basically you don't call yourself a director or a CEO and you are walking out there with a dust all over yourself selling process. So we decided, even though I'm in accounting, even though you are in front office or whatever you are doing, even though you are the CEO, you have to sell, because this is the first thing. And I think for each and every business, if you don't start there, you may not even be able to understand whatever happens throughout the business, even as you grow. Right now, most of the times I'm also so much engaged. I would say more than 100% engaged in the office. But we have been able to recruit people whom we have delegated duties to, so that they can be able to handle those things. But if a situation arises that I'm the one who is supposed to sell, I'll be able to sell. I'll be able to go out there. I'll be able to meet a group of people, pitch to them the products that I'm having, tell them the importance of them getting on board or doing whatever they are doing, because that is a starting point. If you cannot be able to do, even up to now, I do sell, I do other duties like going to the field, meeting with other investors, all those things. Basically, because you get an experience, you have to run basically like everything. What happens or what needs to be done. Like during that time, I think because you are four of us, sometimes you could be left in the office alone and there's no one else, and you're expected to handle everything. So you might find, if you're not in a position to know how payments are made, how do you get a customer maybe who is calling from very far, from Kisumu, from Mombasa, or even from abroad. They are requesting for assistance on how they can be able to make payment for their products. Then you are going to lose out on that opportunity. So the best thing, as a small organization, as a business that would desire to grow, if you're the leader in that business, if you're the co-founder in that business, ensure that you learn as much as possible from all the aspects of the business. With that, you'll be able to move very far. Yes.
Thank you for that. Reminds me of many other stories too. Another thing that I feel you have shared quite a lot. Another thing that I feel is very important for a small organization, especially an SME. This thing about learning, attending, looking for knowledge basically. There are those who read books, like myself. There are those who will be able to attend seminars, you read papers, you just look for information. But as a small business, you can also look for mentors, people who are called coaches, to be able to guide you into the business. Of course, they don't charge a lot of money. Or you join clubs and organizations. I've been able to join some of them where you meet people who are accomplished in every sector, and they can be able to share. People are willing to share this information for free. I was actually telling someone, what is important is not knowing. What is important is doing. You may know so much, but you are using only 10% of what you know. So these people will share the information because they know it is very difficult for you to be able to implement, but it is possible. So look for forums, look for conferences, look for workshops where you can be able to interact with people who are doing what you'd like to do in the future. It is very, very important. Maybe the last thing I would like to share is the team. Remember, we were coming from, all of us were engineers, computer engineers. There's one who is also an electronic engineer. So we were coming from an engineering background. We are professionals in our field, we're accomplished, we can be able to do other jobs. But now here we come to run an organization. I've been telling people, hii kitu ni jua kali. It's only that we are professional people. We like doing things, especially in using in a very professional way. So the point I'm trying to put across, you need to be very professional, especially when you're hiring members of staff. If you come to username, and this is something that most people, we hire the best people. You need a very strong team. And I also believe, like, if I bring a market, this is somebody who understands more than they do. And I will maybe share a story, like he said. By now, most of you who are operating SMEs are jack of all trades. And I did those things. I was the guy who was, alikuwa anafagia hapo chini. I was the receptionist. Magic ish, I was the guy to most likely go for it, and I can put it in my shoulder. I was the sales guy. I was the CEO. I was the marketing representative. I was everything in one. Most of you guys have done that. But when we started hiring people, we were very keen to hire the best. And I also used to sell. It's one of the skills I learned the hard way. I'm not this outgoing kind of a guy. But when I left and I came, I realized there's no other option. I had to learn the sales skill to be able to convince people. And I think the first year, by the time I was finishing, and then we got other good people, I felt like I could sell air somewhere. But I remember the moment you brought salespeople, I had this thing, I did not believe somebody else. See that firm belief that somebody else can be able to do better than you. But because we hired the best, I later realized in 2 months, most of them were doing better than I could have done in sales. And that is the impact. Over time, we have hired marketing representatives, we have hired HR people, we have hired accountants, we have hired IT people, and all kinds of people, and we are the best. To be honest with you, almost all of them are better than me in their areas of specialization. So I've learned, as a professional organization, please don't go for people who don't know what they are doing. Go for the best. And of course, you remunerate them the best way we can, according to the industry standards, and maybe even better, because you believe those are talents and they are able to help us grow better. There are those people who try to save And one of the things that Julius talked about was cash flow management. I remember there was a time in the business, once we started growing up, we were looking for money. You look at the money coming in per month and the money going out. Then at some point we established a priority of how payments should be made. And then we said, we looked at the risk, the business risk. And then we said for this business to grow, the way it is growing and survive, this is the order of things. The first person to be paid was the owner of the land. That is very clear because these are the people who can bring the company down if they decide to, or the transaction down and the project can die. We knew we did not have a choice because they are the provider of stock. The second person to be paid was our member of staff. Before any supplier, before any valuer, before anybody. So one of the things, because I took over the HR department, it means not something I started, but I have learned so many things. Everyone who has come to username, maybe except 1%, I have been engaged in their interview sessions. I learned HR myself. I was able to do everything that is required. And I have so many skills in that. Everyone who has come to username have been able to pass through me. So basically, we are able to put that order and know who is supposed to be paid. Don't try to save using methods that limit the growth of your business. But at the same time, I would like to caution that it's very important to take calculated risk. Somebody may not be able to take this advice as one size fits all. You have to look at the unique situations in your business and know what is the priority. Thank you for watching and subscribing to my channel. I'll be releasing more of this content and videos, and you surely don't want to miss. Please subscribe, engage, comment, and share.